Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. It is the 11th of September 2018, and I was just catching up with some of the YouTube channels. I was listening to Beyond the Imaginary Curve, I think it was from Saturday, and he was talking to Pete Shea, and there's a bit of disagreement between the two of them, and I don't really know why, because I think a lot of the stuff that they were both saying, they actually agreed upon. But I think there were some assertions made and stuff like that, and I don't know whether it's to do with characters and etc. But the main point that I wanted to get to is that Dale was talking about the flat Earth, and he was talking about the shape, and he talked about a lot of other things, and other people, I think Barbara was on there as well. She was talking about a bigger thing than flat Earth, and I left a comment on there as well. And I agree, sort of. I know what they're trying to say. The thing is us as humans, we always like to scale things where there is no. I mean, how do you know what's more important, what's not? Whether it's false flag truths, whether it's flat Earth, whether it's the way that we live and all that kind of stuff. It all is part of a jigsaw. We don't know the weight of each part. I mean, I know the process that I came to where I am now. I started off with the false flag things. Conspiracies, then it led me to flat Earth, and then flat Earth, it led me to, the way our life doesn't have to be the way that it is, although that I used to believe before anyway, but it led me back there. And I think, like I said before, if suddenly we turn on the television and they said, yes, the Earth isn't a globe, and this is what it looks like, and here's the proof of it, I'm pretty sure that it wouldn't start an uprising of people. Those in, NASA would be shut down, and people would be, investigated. But I'm sure the system, the police, the government, the schools, countries, all that would stay in place. It wouldn't change the fact. And yes, it's true that we need to live in to know all truths about, us. And yeah, I know Dale was talking about our foundation of, where we live, but I think also it's to do with us as well, who we are, what we are, why we are. Knowing that governments of, or allowing false flag events to take place, or whatever the truth is regarding those conspiracies, is not going to stop people starving on the street. It's not going to start people finding cures for diseases. It's not going to, stop us from celebrities and rich people banking money and leaving it in the bank and living by this system of money, whilst other people don't have a house or are starving or are dying in countries. We'll always keep seeing ourselves as English, British, American, Scottish, Irish, Welsh, Japanese, Brazilian, African, Middle Eastern, Australian, whatever, where we're all one species, we're all exactly the same. We've been divided by categories, and those categories can go all sorts of ways, whether it's colour, whether it's race, whether it's location, whether it's time, whether it's what you believe, flat earther, globe, football teams. We can cut it down to the smallest amount of things, to the that we like to, as humans, like to box things. But we're all one species, and this life that we're living, that's the thing I think is the most important thing, is that, and I think this is all connected. I'm not saying this is more important or less important, but what I mean is no point having truth if nothing changes. Surely, I mean, I know Dale was agreeing with that as well, and so that's why I wasn't sure about the argument, because I felt that they both agreed on the same thing, that it's not only about flat Earth, it's also about us as a species, that we need to, and maybe it's because it seems so impossible to change, but that we need to understand that the way we're living isn't necessarily the only way that we could be living. We're living in a divided, divisive place, whatever the shape of it is. Yes, we need to get to that point, but we also need to get to all the other points as well, and whether they happen at the same time, or, well, it'd be best they happen at the same time, isn't it? I don't know what it will be the key to unlock everything. Maybe once people realise that we've been lied to about the shape of the Earth, that will lead people to suddenly say, well, wait a minute, what else? and then everyone will go down that same path, and then we'll all stop living as separated beings when we're actually one species. We are all the same no matter where we are, and we are just subject to the time and location of our understanding, that we're born babies without any teaching, and everything that we do, and this is why it's so difficult to undo it, is because every thought that I have now, everything I say has been taught to me. Yeah, I've been programmed, it's like a computer with MS-DOS or Windows or whatever Apple Mac's thing is. I think I've said that whole sentence before, in the sense that they're constrained to do whatever that teaching is. It's difficult to unteach someone that a tree isn't actually a tree, or that the way we live in countries, isn't that no one has a claim of these things. That the fact that we're subject to passports, we're subject to paper, we're subject to government, subject to control, we're subject to schools, we're subject to, national health or private care. Whereas all of this thing can be done differently. So I think that, I don't know what the actual, whether the truth is the actual answer to this, or what the actual answer is, but the truth is that the way we're living is the problem, and we need to sort that out so that everything can be sorted out, so that we can live as one species, always knowing the truth of our location, the truth of our existence, the truth that anything that we bring up, any system is a man-made construct. Obviously, the one we're living at the moment is one, but if we do replace it, whereas it will be another form of construct, because I don't know whether there is I don't know what the natural one is, because if you're left, like I say, a baby is left on its own, what would it become? Or would we evolve into the same thing? I don't know. Just confused myself really by going around that circle. Anyway, I don't know whether I've made it any clearer than the comment that I left on Dell's page. I don't know if he's going to answer it or he's going to put his point to it, but I'll leave this link so you can see hear this as well. And I'm not, I like both. I like loads of different people. I don't know, I know people like to say, this person is gatekeeping this space as an agent, this, that. I don't know. Well, as an individual, I listen to things and what I understand, what I think is, I can only think for myself, and everyone can only think for themselves. And, what I hear helps empower me and makes me think. And I think that's the most important thing for all of us. But yeah, like Dale would say, it's all about discernment. And I'm sure Pete, he says that as well. We have to look at everything and question everything. But the problem is, what do we do with it all? That's the thing. When we know that the earth is flat, when we know that there is injustices and inequalities and the way that we live is not the best way, I suppose the only thing is to tell everyone else and hope everyone else feels that and does something about it as a collective, because I don't know whether it can be done as an individual. Well, we're all individuals, and as a collective, that's us. This bit always depresses me when I start thinking this way, the fact that how do you unravel thousands of years and thousands of different thinkers that have been propped up, and ideas and constructs? How do you unravel all that? It's not going to happen overnight, is it? Take care, take it easy, God bless and peace.